put stuff in the middle.
Nice, my friend. Nice.
Yeah. Okay, we're ready to go. Looks like we're just trying to start the next game of the last game of the games tonight, guys. This is our last game between Warwick and Imperial. I think I'm just going to ask if we're ready to go. I think we are. Yeah, the good luck to have funds are coming out. So, what are you expecting to see banned this time round, Theory?
Well, I'd like to think that Ariel will be banned this time. She was destructive last game, and she was really the crucial part of that team. I can't see the Azure coming out again. Maybe they'll pick a more aggressive AD carry than the Graves. Possibly you've potentially got a few big. Yeah, the Wukong ban comes out. Possibly the Zac ban to stop that initiate, because that was really destructive last game. I'm unfamiliar with a lot of the junglers played by these people. The Java ban comes out. Again, just generally really strong. The Rumble, I'm guessing, is a targeted ban. You don't often see that coming out. Zyra support, huge with the Ashe, so unsurprising that's been picked right now. I'm a bit behind on the bans, so I'll have to see the last couple. I'm taking the time. I mean, potentially Orianna could be banned, because while into the late she was fairly weak, it was actually very destructive early on. That Eri has been banned here, unsurprisingly. I think in the last 4 games it's either been picked or banned. 3 games it's either been picked or banned. So it's nice that she's not in the game for once. Last ban's just about to come out now, and it is the Zac. So they want to get rid of that knock-up initiation, and that means that you can start to play some more aggressive early game damage type junglers. Warwick's just been hovered over right now, so with that, you kind of every 60-70 seconds, the cooldown on this ultimate is quite short, is what I'm getting at. You are almost guaranteed a kill if the lane is slightly out of position. It's very hard to get past the sustain, suppress when a lot of damage is coming down on you if you're not right by your turret. With that, I don't know if that'll be locked in or not. That could easily be a troll, however, but I'd like to see that played for a change. What do you think, Excandrel?
I think Warwick were just picking the Warwick to be a bit of a troll, to be honest. Warwick University picking up the Warwick to, just let them know that their Warwick is their mascot. Warwick University, Warwick the champion. I don't think I'd expect to see him played, to be honest.
Okay.
I mean, it'd be
locked in.
Yeah, it'd be funny to see.
Guys.
Funny to see if he was, but I just don't think it would be. Nocturne being hovered over here for Imperial, and the Leona. So Leona being straight up possibly picked, but then they have just switched to a Soraka. So I'll be very surprised if we do see a Soraka. Now it's been switched to a Lee Sin. So just to making their mind up whether they want to be an aggressive or a passive lane. I mean, Soraka can be aggressive, but not quite as aggressive as Leona. In fact, nowhere near as aggressive as Leona. And now being switched to a Janna, so they're just possibly thinking around a couple of team comps that they want to play. Gray's out being switched out for the Lee Sin. Lee Sin is up for Fiju, and we know that Fiju is a great Lee Sin player. We have seen in the last tournament do really well on him. It's one of his favourites to play. Was banned last game. Looks like they've opted to ban out the Ahri and the Wukong, so they can't run with a similar team comp this time. Renekton has not been banned again. But we've seen Renekton every game, and Renekton has been on the losing team every game. Would you think that we're going to see him again, Theory?
It would not surprise me. Pretty bored of Renekton. So if you can hear me, guys, don't pick Renekton. Pick that Warwick. That was quite interesting. It's stuck with the Graves again. So exactly the same AD carry versus AD carry matchup right here. That surprises me. That Ezreal was far superior than the Graves last game. But that could potentially be down to the global gold. Obviously, they had that huge global gold lead early on, and that enabled the Ezreal's blue build not to be shut down early, which meant once he got that Miura mana, what more can you do? He catches someone with that frozen gauntlet, and they're going to most likely fall unless they turn around and engage. The Amumu's being hovered over here. A great AoE, fairly easy sort of jungler to play, is got some great ganking abilities, some decent damage, and just a decent set of kit. However, he lacks the potential to make some plays and some engages at time. He relies on that bandage toss to get in there, or as you see in bronze, a flash and then an ulti and then a bandage toss. But I don't like him as much as that Nautilus, even as much as the Malphite. I think he's great on his own. He locks people up, but you're not grouping people together to bring AoE in from your Ezreal, or if they choose Orion or something like that, they're not all locked up in the same position. They can be locked up very spread.
Yeah, Amumu is a good jungler, but you're taunting out possibly something that Fiju likes to play, which is Lee Sin. And you and I both know you're a big Lee Sin player, Theory. You know that Lee Sin is especially good against these mana-reliant, ability-based champions like Amumu, and he can counter jungle extremely well and really punish the Amumu jungle. But actually, it looks like this is going for a Maokai.
And we saw a Maokai in game 2, I believe, and it was actually pretty strong. It's having a bit of a resurgence. That ulti is going to be really nicely comboed versus the AoE of Amumu, Sona ulti, and the Ezreal ulti. So already, it's a really good pick. Now, we'll see what they decide to pick here, but it's more probable that they go for some kind of more sustained damage, so the Maokai ulti won't take out quite as much damage as he can.
Yeah, and oddly enough, I mean, Maokai can counter invade. He's got a brilliant lockup. And with the support of your team, you could actually invade to great success. I was hoping to see Fiji on a bit more of an aggressive jungler. I liked him on his Lee Sin to sort of run and wander in and take out the Amumu and really shut him down. Maokai doesn't have the same ability to do that. We have a Nivea and a Zed locked in. You don't see a Nivea that often, really, in competitive play, unless you're really good with her.
Unless you're
obviously, unless you're Froggen, or maybe Toys. But those two are the only, you don't tend to see a Nivea pick that often because she's just such a skill-reliant champion. You have to just know her inside out to make her work in most matchups. Happy text Theory, by the way.
Thank you, my friend.
And oh god, Renekton being hovered over again, guys. Please no Renekton. I just, it's like a bad omen for any team that seems to pick him at the moment.
Yes. Please don't lock it in. I can't be asked to see him played again. Seriously, like I've had enough of Renekton. He's a crocodile. I like the monkey. That was a good pick. Go for more of the Sejuani.
Go for the dog. Even. Just go for the dog. Go for his brother.
Yeah. Oh, for Nasus, of course. Yeah. Like, please just get away from the Renekton. I know they can hear me speaking right now. So
I think it's going to be a Renekton pick, and I think we're going to have to cast another Renekton game. And we are going to have to cast another Renekton game, guys. Woo! Celebrate the Renekton. I tell you guys.
Scumbag Griff as well down there. That just popped up.
If I lose, okay, if they lose, I'm telling you guys, it's because you picked Renekton. Just putting that out there.
We'll put a global ban on Renekton for the rest of the tournament. I think that's only fair, don't you, Scoundrel?
Mm-hmm. But there we are. Anyway, guys, so we have, joking aside, we've got two decent team comps here, but personally, I'm liking purple size team comp because Maokai is very good against the AoE of Amumu and Anivia, so he has the ability to sort of reduce their AoE, and also if Zed casts his Death Mark inside the Maokai ultimate, that's 20% of Zed's Death Mark damage that's going through the drain. And also Lux and Graves can sit at the back and throw down their spells and their auto attacks really out of harm's way, really. So, I mean, I like purple team comp, but again, Amumu is one of those champions that if played right can change games.
Yeah. So I mean, the assassination potential is totally neutralized from Zed right here, I'm afraid. The Lux shield and the Janna shield and the Maokai ulti. I can't see him doing his job correctly unless he gets fed early game. And as well as that, the Anivia, she relies on that AoE, and if the Maokai is soaking up half of that, it's actually going to escalate the damage on that ultimate hugely from the Maokai. Once he's broken it, he reflects that damage back to the enemy team. And it can actually, if you catch quite a few people in it, do a decent chunk if you've soaked up enough damage inside it. In terms of lane matchup right here, we're going to guess that it's a Renekton versus a Zed. The Zed, fine, he does a decent trade, but the Renekton, as you've seen in the last 3 games, he just bullies and bullies and bullies until they're pushed out of the lane. The Amumu's got a really good gank, but as is the Maokai, so it's going to be a ward battle again. Renekton can tend to start a bit of a safer buy, so maybe Rejuvenation beads or Doran's Shield, as we've seen in the past. Whereas the Zeds tend to lean towards a bit more of an aggressive build. What do you think, Iskandra?
It's odd because you don't tend to see Zeds in the top lane that much these days. I mean, Zed's become this more staple mid lane champion. He has the ability to burst squishy AP casters. He has his good gap closer, double gap closer if you include his ultimate because it has its cast range. And he has the ability to juke over walls and get out of ganks pretty easy. I mean, he's less suited to the top lane in my opinion because he is more of a squishy AD castery type thing. And Renekton probably is going to do better against him. Again, but he can work in the top lane, so it's not something that we haven't seen before. Obviously, Nick Wu was famous for, in the ACS, the spring split, for using Zed in the top lane. It was often banned against him quite heavily.
Sowers as well, I believe.
Sowers, yeah.
Play it very well in the top lane. The one ability that he has as a real advantage in the top lane is that ability to push really hard. You can leave him up there to split push, and Zed should almost always do well in the 1v1 situation. Once he's got a few items down, once he's got the Blade of the Ruin King down. And if he can do that, then the rest of the team can split really well. Anivia, Ezreal, Sona, and Amumu can team fight really well without the Zed. They don't need him there. They don't rely on him there. There's plenty of damage already there. So if they're having to expend either Renekton or the Graves, and I'd very much doubt the Lux is going to try and fend off a Zed split push, they might be left with a much weaker team comp in a 4v4 fight than the blue side.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, I think this is going to be one of those games that it's not going to hinge too hard on team fights. I think, again, this is going to be something that the ganks in lanes are going to be one of the bigger factors in who's going to win this out. Looking at the main matchups theory, just run through who you think is going to do better in lane in each lane, in top lane, mid lane, and bottom lane.
So last game we saw the Ezreal versus the Graves. Now, the Ezreal straight away had that red buff, and then leaning towards the level 6, the Graves started to get the better of him. So without that red buff, I'd have thought the Graves is going to do really well. His AD burst with the Janna shield is going to be huge. And if the Sona manages to land a decent ulti, the Janna will be able to disengage fairly well. Mid lane wise, it's going to be a bit of a farm fest. Anivia, she can get pretty well poked by the Lux. However, she does have that egg there. If Lux gets level 6 and lands a combo to kill him, it's still got an egg. It's a fairly even matchup in my opinion. You've both got potential to kill each other with a decent gank, but until then I think it's going to be a bit of a farm fest. As I say, on top lane, I'd have thought Renekton would take this. I don't know the matchup properly, but I'd have thought the Renekton's able to build armor and able to negate a lot of the Zed damage right here. Jungle-wise, what can we expect? Who's going to dominate each other's jungle here, do you think?
I think this is more of a passive jungler versus a passive jungler. You can see a Maokai wander into an enemy's jungle because he has a deceptive amount of early game damage, but so does Amumu really. But Maokai has that sort of life leech that he gets from Sap Magic, which is the ability that every time he uses 5 abilities, he can then auto attack for 7% of his maximum health. So a lot of people don't factor that in when to dueling Maokai. And also his sapling toss, if it gets both damage on, it can do an incredible amount of damage. Like, at level 1, if it hits you, it does 40, and if it explodes, it does 80. So that's 120 damage for a level 1 spell, which is pretty crazy if you up. It does look like they're just going to defend out his blue buff though. He's not throwing down any saplings to try and ward out the brushes. Maybe he's just trying to possibly go for a red buff. It does look like blue want to try and defend this though. I would be surprised if both junglers didn't just randomly start their blues, because I think both junglers are so blue dependent that I think they're going to want to try and secure those for themselves just in case either of them get stolen away.
Maybe so, but as previously discussed, that extra damage coming from the bot lane and your mid lane onto the buff means you can take a buff really fast. I think if you, in fact, the purple team are coming over to this red side. They have a ward in the red side back bush, so they know that they're there. Ezreal's told them, guys, we want to start here. I'm gonna let you know we're here. Go back to your blue. Go about your business.
Yeah,
So,
I think maybe they were hoping to get away with the sneaky red steal, but the fact that Ezreal alerted that they were there just pushed them back to their blue buff, and I think now Amumu is just going to start his red buff. He's got the extra damage from the blue from his bot side, so both the junglers are going to have a decent pull.
and I think this is both. Actually, Zed's heading to the mid lane, so this is surprising. I thought Zed would go to top lane and try and face up.
Yeah,
so Nivea's going to the top lane.
Nivea top lane. Interesting one, this, because you don't ever really see a Nivea in the top lane. I've never seen a Nivea in the top lane. I don't know about you. I mean, it can work. It's a bit like Ryze. I don't know if you've seen Ryze. Obviously, he was quite popular in the top lane, but people used to pick him against Renekton because Renekton suffers from sort of ranged AP casters, but you never tend to take ranged AP casters in the top lane because a lot of them don't have good escape.
I don't think Renekton's expected it either. He started a Doran's Blade. I think he was hoping to combat that Zed with playing aggressive versus aggressive and just seeing who trades best. So he's gone for that Doran's Blade start. Inivia, if he can get some decent harass down early, Renekton's going to be forced to have to sit him back off his minions or taking an early B to pick up some pots. So we'll see how that goes right now.
Yeah, just odd, very odd. I mean, the problem for Anivia is that she's got no escape, and then she's warded up and everything. But that's why you don't put these kind of champions in the top lane, because it's such a long lane. If you get caught, even if you use flash, it's one of those lanes that that if you get caught, it's just hard to, you just can't get out of it. And then also if you go behind, you really go behind. And look how much damage that one Ruthless Predator is doing. I mean, Renekton's going really, really hard, and he's going to pop the egg on Anivia. Very nearly. Anivia just blew a flash to escape. And Renekton not wanting to burn his Ignite because he knew that it would only have got the egg. But that's the problem with putting an Anivia in top lane, because she's just going to take that much damage, and really she's only got 36 armor. She's not like she's started a horrendous amount of armor runes, and it doesn't look like Renekton. Look at the Ruthless Predator damage coming out right there. Oh wow, I think maybe he's going to take too much damage from the turret and go down. First blood going to Anivia, that was just poor play for the Renekton. He's just got a bit too confident with the damage he was dealing, and unfortunately paid for it because the egg was up. And this could be a kill going down to Zed as well.
Double buff onto the Zed as well. That is going to be really painful for the Lux to deal with. He still has another pot, so he's going to be able to stay in lane, pick up the CS, and Amumu's just warding her off. He just dives in there
onto a bandage toss onto the Lux. She's going to get the red buff down. She's not going to take too much damage. She managed to shield herself. Zed is not in any position to try and help out, unfortunately, but he does a double buff now. That's double buff lost on Maokai, a double buff going over to Zed, and that's the first blood going to Anivia. Unfortunately, just Imperial screwed themselves over a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that so many times. Tanky junglers think they're just that much tankier at level 3. Nautilus earlier kept on diving at ridiculous moments, and Maokai did exactly the same. This is the problem. His roots, when he jumps in, if they flash, it's a very slow moving spell, so you can be pulled into that turret, and that's exactly what happened there.
Yeah, crazy amount of hit coming on the spot lane, and it looks like Amumu's no wards here. He's going to try and catch on to the Janna, and manages to get onto the Janna. I don't know if anything's going to come of it. It's just managed to get off. The red buff just forces it to flash. And she just managed to get out of that with a sliver of health, but that is a flash down from Janna for really just a random Amumu gank. Ezreal managed to get the 1Q off. She has got a couple of health pots. Amumu is now going to rotate right to columns. I think Maokai has a bit of a vengeance in this mid lane because he just looks like he's trying to camp it out.
Yeah. Zed, however, is still got that W up. He's leaving it up most of the time. He's not trying to push that lane particularly fast, so he's going to be ready for that Maokai. And if that Maokai tries the same again, he's going to suck him back into the turret again and again and again.
Unfortunately, a problem that now Renekton is going to face is Anivia has picked up her Seeker's Arm Guard, so she has now got, well, 78 armor, and unfortunately is just going to have a little bit too much armor for Renekton to deal with at this point. I think Graves and Janna are being forced back out of this lane, and Maokai's going to come and try and cover the turret, but it doesn't like Ezreal's in a hurry to push. And Lux getting caught out by the Amumu again. That's another kill going over to Zed. I don't know if Lux is going to be able to deal with her when it comes 6, because he hasn't even turned 6 yet and he's been getting kills. Does look like Renekton's going on to this Anivia again. She has used a wall. It's still doing a good amount of damage to her. That's just the problem. Anivia just is a low health champion. She's sitting in top lane with 730 health, whereas Renekton has got 1,200. So that's 500 health disparity between the two, and I think both of them will be doing similar damage. Now Graves is back in this bot lane. I mean, so far, Theory, I mean, it's a K gold to advantage to Warwick. What do you think is going to come of this?
Well, as you've seen, the Zed has had 2 kills picked up on him, so he's going to go back right now, pick up the Brutalizer, which you can't afford to have on the Zed before he hits level 6. This Lux is going to have a really difficult time to deal with.
I'm just wondering, Theory, wasn't Fiju the jungler of Imperial, and now he's playing Graves?
Is that right? Well,
I'm just gonna
think right here.
I'm just gonna confirm this. I think that they either failed a swap or just decided to swap roles. Give me 1 second, guys. No, Fiji played Ezreal last game, so maybe it was just okay. Yeah. I had a feeling he was the jungler. Actually played the carry this game, the last game, and played the carry this game. So well played, me, for getting the people mixed up. But yeah, I mean, top lane we've just got Anivia. She's picked up her ultimate. The problem is, I think she wants these blue buffs. I mean, the good thing about her being in top or mid is that she can easily get them. Maokai just wandering into this bot lane, but I think he's been picked up by the minions, to be honest, and also he's got no health. Amumu is also in bot lane, so he's looking to counter gank this. I think they know that he's there. There's a ward there, and I think they just do know that he's there.
Yeah, and when it comes to a 3-on-3 at bot lane, with Amumu having that ultimate up, I'd say that you come out on top. The Maokai ultimate is very effective at neutralising damage, but if you just can't get close to the enemy team as a Graves, if the Amumu can lock you up, then you don't get your damage off. So, you know, they don't want to be in that situation with a Maokai of getting caught with their pants down when the Amumu's just sitting there with an ulti to snare all 3 of them up.
Yeah, right now this is, I mean, to be honest, Imperial are slowly clawing back a bit of the gold. They're now only about 700 behind when they were almost a case. They managed to get 300 gold from somewhere. Could just be the amount of CS. Renekton is 30 CS ahead of the Anivia. Amumu is in this top lane. I think Anivia is just sat on the turret, because I think even though she got that early advantage, I think Renekton just beats Anivia in terms of her champion select. And that's just the problem with picking Anivia top lane. It's a bit of an odd choice. Maybe they were just hoping that, maybe they were thinking that they were going to put Zed against the Renekton, but Zed didn't want to go up against the Renekton, so they just switched the lanes around. And
I think they want to make sure they have that AP damage coming from somewhere. I mean, they could have picked the Rumble. He obviously struggles versus Renekton slightly due to Renekton's higher RAS. However, Ryze would have been a fantastic pick on bot lane, as you pointed out, on top lane, as you pointed out, being able to throw out a lot of magic damage right there.
Yeah, he has been slightly nerfed. I mean, obviously his range of his spells have all been knocked down to 400, which means he has to get a lot closer to deal his damage, but when he gets tanky, that doesn't really matter. I don't know if you noticed, but Zed keeps wandering down halfway down to bot lane, aiming to get the gank off, but I think the spidey senses for the Graves and the Janna are tingling. They don't have any wards, but they are just backing off whenever they see the Mumu and the Zed nearby them. Other than that, I mean, the Graves isn't doing too badly.
I think the Zed really missed an opportunity. The Zed hit level 6. He got a gank from Amumu just before to finish, to pick up another kill from Lux. But as soon as he hit that level 6, he should have been in on that Lux. The Lux actually managed to get a back off, and in doing so picked up her arm guard. And a lot of damage coming out there from Lux.
Amumu is in this bot lane, looking like he wants to get a gank off. There's no ward for Graves, and so looks like he's going to catch onto them. Oh, he flash engages onto the Graves. He has got bandage toss still up. Graves is taken very, very low. Amumu gets onto him, and that's a free kill for Sona, and Amumu gets the kill onto Janna. So really good play. Didn't use his bandage toss right there. Maokai was a little bit too late for the party. He's spending too long in that mid lane trying to kill that Zed. Probably a little bit of a personal vengeance for taking that double buff early on. A bit like I did when I went to that tournament and gave away double buff at level 2. But we don't talk about that. But really well played from that Amumu, flash engage, weren't expecting it, hit both of them, and actually managed to get 2 of the kills. I think what would have been better is if both the AD carry and the support had split up there, and Jano had walked towards the Maokai, and they'd just at least given up 1 kill. But silver lining, none of the kills went to Wesley.
Well, the Janna ulti was just a bit too late right there. The Amumu managed to flash in, which was slightly unexpected, though you've always got to really expect it from a Amumu, because it can happen an awful lot. If she'd have managed to disengage straight away, there wouldn't have been a threat there, but alas, she didn't, and it ended up in them giving away 2 kills, and a lot of their lane dominance, to be quite honest.
Yeah, and unfortunately I just think that Graves is just being beaten back a bit, and now Dragon has just spawned, and both teams know it's up, so they're just trying to sort of poke each other out of it. Ezreal's ultimate is now back up as well. It is obviously a very short cooldown, so you're not really worrying too much about Ezreal's ultimate's cooldown there, but it does look like he's going to go defend the bot lane. Anivia is still up top. He's 66 CS to Renekton's 100. Renekton is trying to get onto him, but Anivia's doing a good job of just bashing him back with his with her ultimate, which is Glacial Storm, and then just following up with a Frostbite. Now level 5, we'll be doing a lot of damage. You know, Frostbite does double damage if someone's afflicted with a debuff called, I think it's called Chill. So yeah, I mean, really well played out the Anivia, not to give away any kills, to be honest. I mean, you'd think that Anivia versus Renekton would be a bad matchup for her, but she's not doing too badly. She's behind on CS, but that's it.
The Renekton, he keeps on pushing that wave into the turret, and it's, you know, it's working out well for him. He's already taken that 40 CS lead. Yeah, my maths is correct. I'm quite surprised there. 40 CS lead, and which is obviously a huge advantage. However, if he made sure that wave fell all the way back, he could probably zone her off even more and actually pick up kills here.
Yeah, I agree, and I think what Imperial need to do now is take advantage of sort of a long-range poke that they have and start grouping up for these team objectives and just poking it out before they get to the team fight stage. What they need to worry about is that they know that Amumu's flash is down, and they just need to worry about bandage tosses, and if you can predict a bandage toss, they're pretty easy to juke out.
Yeah, I think Imperial, while they look behind here, are in fact looking in pretty good stead. The fact that they're farming out so well, I can't see that Zed being able to be allowed to assassinate.
Oh, looks like he's engaged in the bot lane. Graves getting hit by the crescendo. Amumu just coming in. Janice is a monsoon, but I think this Graves is going to go down anyway. Amumu just coming in, uses his ultimate anyway. Kill goes on to Ezreal. Last hit with a mythic shot. Looks like he'll go for a tower dive. I think this Janice is going to go down. She uses her tornado. Can Ezreal get the last hit? Looks like he just misses with the mystic shot. They're going to have to back out because Lux comes in and Maoka's coming in. And unfortunately, Ezreal just missing that last skill shot and giving away an easy kill. Looks like Lux is trying to land a binding onto the Ezreal. Doesn't look like anyone's going to try and do too much here. Maokai popping his ultimate just to burn down these minions. There is a Zed lurking in the side brush, but no one has any wards in it, but they're just not going to do anything, so they're a bit scared because he has disappeared from mid lane. But a good pickup for Ezreal right there. He has picked up the Brutalizer, he has picked up the tier. He is now sitting on 1,600 gold, probably looking towards building that Mirror mana so he can get into getting that bit more damage based on his mana. But yeah, well played from the Amumu right there. Saved his ultimate until the last possible moment, which is probably what you want to do because you don't want to waste it if you don't have to.
And the important thing here is the fact that Sona is putting a lot of money into these pink wards. There was a pink ward in Tribrush there, a pink ward in the opposite bush. And while the purple team are looking to keep that control onto the dragon, if they're getting killed every 2 minutes, they're not going to be able to contest it anyway. So that Janna needs to start thinking about putting a lot more money into the Tribrush area and just making sure that her Graves is safe to farm against this team.
Yeah, and the problem is that Ezreal's just going to sort of outscale Graves in terms of his utility. Graves is a great AD carry, but he needs to be even, if not ahead, to do his sort of thing, because as an AD caster you do a little bit less damage if you aren't ahead. Does look like he's getting taken to the cleaners a bit with this this poke, but doing an alright job, not too far behind. He could be worse, in a worse situation. Doesn't look like Maokai's coming down for a gank here. Do you think he's going to get anything successful off? Because Amumu is sitting there in the sidelines.
I can't imagine him actually managing to pull anything successful. Janna's now on half HP. They spot the Amumu. He's going to go in for the gank right here. Makes bandage pass onto the Maokai. Doesn't burn his ulti quite left. yet. They're just going to back off after seeing that Maokai ulti being put down to neutralise some of the damage. The Zed was also there to follow up. So if they'd have gone into that, they'd have maybe traded a kill for a kill, but I don't think it's worth it because that Lux is back at mid lane, pushing the turret down.
Renekton just farming out against this Anivia, but I don't think that's the right tactic because, as we both know, Anivia is incredibly late game scaling and she has the most potent clear potential. Lux is just coming up to try and dive on the turret, but Anivia does have her egg up, so it'll be a bit of a balls deep dive if they choose to go for it. Looks like Renekton is really going to go for it. Lux managed to land her laser and her spell. It looks like taken really low. Anivia is taken really low, but I think she's just going to pop her egg and that's going to be the end of it. Doesn't look like anyone wants to do anything with it.
Yeah, but I mean, the idea is correct right there. That Lux should have got right in under the turret in order to do some damage. They could have shared that damage out over the turret and potentially picked up the kill right there. As you say, Anivia has this great wave clearing ability once she's picked up some ability power. We looked at her about 3 minutes, 5 minutes ago, and we said then that the Renekton was 40 CS ahead. That lead hasn't actually increased at all. So I think right now, Anivia is going to start to pull this back.
Yeah, I mean, she hasn't been getting further away from Renekton and she's been keeping up really well. And what a great thing about Anivia is that she can defend that top turret with her life because she can just stick her ultimate down. Those minions will be slow moving towards the turret and they'll be taking damage. And she's one of these champions that defends turrets like no other sort of champion in the game. I mean, that AoE damage is blasphemous, you know, it's ridiculous. And honestly, like, a pretty solid pick for that top lane. I mean, she may lose the turret now just because she was forced back. I'm not sure what she was expecting. She was full health with blue buff, and Lux did show in the mid lane. Maybe she was worried about a turret dive, but that is a turret going down. Maybe from just a bit of poor decision making from the Anivia. If she'd stayed there, I don't think anyone would have got close to her because of her ultimate, and she did have blue buff. But she has now finished her needlessly large rod. She's working towards that Zon as the first item. There hasn't been much action in the mid lane, considering that Zed is 2 kills ahead. He is just jumping in onto the legs. Doesn't look like there's a bit of action going on the bot lane. Maokai obviously counter-gangs to the Mumu. He looks like he's coming in really hard onto this Ezreal. Ezreal's trying to go for the kill on Janna, missing his skill shots. Ezreal, Graves picks up the kill on Ezreal. That's 2 kills into the Graves. And I mean, Graves clawing it back. He's now probably even if not ahead of the Ezreal. I mean, let's look at the gold. Ezreal is, yeah, he is now ahead of the Ezreal, only just.
And that's just that Amumu committing too much to the gank right there. He's walked in a couple of times, been able to ulti and come out with 2 kills every time. So unfortunately, them not going on Ezreal. Now,
yeah, and now Anivia is looking to push Renekton back. She's comboing her ultimate with her Flash Frost. Looks like oh wow, Zed with the steal onto blue buff. That brilliant timing of his Living Shadow combined with the slash and the Razor Shuriken. Really well played from him right there to take the blue buff away from the Lux, which means she's going to be hard pressed in lane to have a constant source of poke.
And Renekton right here taking the turret. So that's a good step in the right direction. It does mean that he's got to put himself in a risky situation in order to start farming out this top lane, continue farming out this top lane, sorry. Anivia as well, a build...
Looks like Amumu's coming into the bot lane. The Janna picked up by a greatly timed Ezreal ultimate. Amumu really committing all of his ganking presence to this bot lane. And I think, I just think Theory may have lost connection right there, but yeah, Amumu committing a lot to this bot lane, really doing most of his ganking work there, trying to get this Ezreal ahead of the Graves. I think he's worried about what this Graves will be able to do coming into late game. Amumu going on this Maokai picking his ultimate really oddly. Doesn't look like they're trying to get a blue buff over to Anivia, but it just, Zed, but Renekton just tried to counter it. Unfortunately, was caught out by the Zed and the Anivia, and that's another kill going over to the Zed. Zed is now sitting at 3-0-0. So he'll be in a scary presence coming into mid-game. He looks like he's building that Bloodthirster first, not really looking to pick up that Blade of the Ruin King like a lot of Zeds do, because Blade of the Ruin King actually, its damage is increased while you're in Deathmark, because if you proc it while you're in Deathmark, its damage is also increased. So you actually do a fair amount of damage. That's why a lot of people tend to pick it up, and also the movement speed bonus on Zed's very good. Maokai just coming into that mid lane, just trying to clear out that mid lane waves. Doesn't want Zed to push too hard. Zed has an incredible pushing power, being a sort of a auto attack melee champion. He's a bit like Tryndamere, but doesn't build attack speed. So he'll have high auto attack damage, but has a lot of skill based damage as well. So he's quite a good hybrid between the two. I don't know if you're back, Theory. Are you back?
I'm back. You can breathe for a second, my friend. You're right, DC. Just for a second there. We've just seen the issue with Renekton right here, pushing into that turret. He's taken that turret now, and then he's put himself in a really tricky situation. He's trying to farm out top lane, but with a fed Zed, a fed Zed at mid, it means that Zed can come over.
And Amira's coming to this bot lane again, and it's here. I bet you this bot lane is getting completely aggravated. Lux was in position, because I think she probably saw it coming. Dragon is up. There are 3 wards on it for blue team right now. And I just think, oh God, if I were this bot lane or the purple team, I would be raging to myself, because this Amumu doesn't seem like he's in any other lane right now.
However, this is really good for Imperial. As we said, Renekton's on the top. His push to the tower is in the awful situation. If the Amumu's constantly down bot lane, it means the Renekton has free reign on top still. You know, he can afford to keep on pushing. The only threat there is Zed. He's got a ward down that blue bush, so it times out in about 10 seconds or so. But for now, he knows that there's no threat from Amumu. And if Amumu does happen to come, the purple team takes the dragon for free.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like he's comboing onto this Anivia. Even though Anivia hasn't died, she's 1 kill up. Renekton is still pushing her all over the place. It's currently 50 CS ahead, so Anivia hasn't caught up. But I mean, the problem is that the Renekton is just sitting there free farming in the lane when really he should be getting punished. And Amumu has just been sitting in this bot lane, hasn't been punished in this top lane until maybe he's putting a lot of stress onto the bot lane of Imperial being good and wants to really shut them down. But they're being really aggressive though. I mean, Janna's taking a lot of pain from the poke of this bot lane, so she's been wailed on really. 0-2-2. I mean, Graves is 2 as well, but he did pick up a double kill when Maokai came for the counter gank. But Maokai hasn't been as effective as Amumu in this game. Amumu, oddly enough, if you see what he's building Abyssal Scepter.
Yeah, maybe he's going for that beautiful hand grenade Amumu that I love to see, but I think it's just that extra damage early on for these ganks into the tower. If you can blow them up within a couple of seconds, you don't risk that counter gank from Maokai, so you can literally just dive into the turret and then get straight out, knowing full well that you're going to have enough damage to do so without chasing them like Wild Goose chase around.
Oddly enough, though, there isn't really anyone on the team of Warwick who's fulfilling this big tank role. Like, obviously the Maokai is for Imperial, but no one on Warwick's team is taking these tanky items. And Amumu's picked up Boots of Mobility, but hasn't picked up Spirit of the Ancient Golem, so he hasn't got that tenacity that Maokai has. And people kind of underrate tenacity sometimes. Like, it is incredibly important if you're in the front lines.
Especially against champions such as Lux, who relies on locking you up with that binding in order to get her full burst out. Obviously, the magic resistance from Amumu against the Lux is going to be really beneficial. And maybe he just thinks, you know, we've tried to whittle down this Graves, we've tried to keep him as behind as possible. We don't need the armor and the health so much. We're just going to allow that Renekton to kind of push that top lane and just keep that damage shelling out and taking objectives off the back of kills.
Yeah, and look for Zed coming into this bot lane to get onto this Janna. She uses the ultimate onto Janna, and he's taking a lot of damage right now. Manages to get out, but that's double kill. A kill going on to Ezreal, and a kill going on to Ezreal. So double kill for Ezreal right there. He's 4-1-2 right now. Great gank. Saw that they were low, and there were no wards. And Zed just came in and picked up a sweet double kill, well, assist right there. And it looks like they're going to rotate around for Dragon. I'm not sure there's anything that the Maokai and the Lux can do, 4 versus 2.
And that's the thing. If you have this full-on damage against...
Oh wow, steal from the Lux.
That. Sorry, I froze for a second because I was quite taken away with that Lux steal. It was brilliant quite there. As I was saying, if you don't have that true CC and lock up the people that deal the damage, then they're just going to be able to shell it out. And if they're dealing it on you, you're going to be dead before you can turn around and be like, but I'm a tank, okay? I need to take the damage. You're just going to die. And that's the be all and end all of it. So that's what we're seeing right now. They can dive onto turrets. They're like easy peasy ganks, and they're just taking objectives off the back of it. Even though it turns out Amumu can't actually hit his smite button very well.
Yeah, I mean, Lux is obviously a harder champion to try and smite against. She has the unpredictable burst damage, but there is about a 1 second delay time between seeing the animation cast and the actual damage coming down, so Amumu just mistimed it, probably panicked a little bit. I do the same thing, called a panic smite. You're just like, oh god, better smite now before the damage goes off, when sometimes
Oh, the
it's probably
same
better.
vicious right there.
Yeah, the same vicious smite. Probably better smite now before the damage comes off, but actually you haven't calculated the damage at all. But all in all, Imperial are still only 1.5k behind.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very tight game right here. They've got the advantage in the farm. They've obviously got more objectives. Actually saying that, it's one turret apiece, so I'm totally wrong.
And I'm pretty sure it's one dragon apiece as well. So, I mean, really, that just the kill was trying to give the advantage over to Warwick. But actually, Imperial look like they're farming a lot better. So, Graves picking up the static shiv. So that's an item that I don't tend to see in professional play that much. But the only AD carry that springs to mind that builds up on every AD carry is Sneaky Castrate from Cloud9, and they haven't really been doing badly, have they? So obviously it has its uses in some areas. It does look like that Imperial are committing a lot to this mid lane tower to try and defend it. They're coming down from the top lane. Anivia has now finished her Athene's and her Zhonya's, so good item pickup from the Anivia, to be honest. She has been doing pretty good. Amumu now opting for a giant spell, not really wanting to finish that Hunter's Machete. Odd choice, to be honest, because the jungle items are actually really, really good. Zed just finished his Bloodthirster, probably looking forward towards getting that Last Whisper from the looks of his pickaxe and his longsword. He's 3-0-2 right now, so he's going to be a scary, scary ninja to deal with. Ezreal pushing out that bot lane. He has picked up both his Iceborne Gauntlets and his Mana Muni. It looks like he's probably building towards that Last Whisper also, so he'll be doing most of his blue build by now. He's also got the Ionian Boots of Lucidity, which gives you the nice cooldown reduction, along with the Brutalizer, which gives you the 10% cooldown reduction. So yeah, I mean, all in all, the Warwick have the position to win this game.
But the longer mana is almost stacked right now. Important highlight is only about 100 off that, so pretty soon he's going to have that stacked. And you saw that last game, suddenly Ezreal came to life, and he just deals a massive amount of damage. If he catches someone,
oh look, Zed's going all in on this Graves. Graves pop down, he just flashes past the buckshot. Graves is taken really low, but I think the Zed committed way too much to that fight, because Graves just survives with the Monsoon from Janna. Really well played. Ezreal trying to come in from the side, and unfortunately Graves just managing to escape with his life, which isn't good for Warwick, and that's a kill over to Imperial. They're catching onto the Janna. It's a brilliant four-man movement ultimate coming in. Tesla Sangam killing everyone. Ezreal in the midst of things, really in the middle. Renekton going really hard onto the Anivia. She's going to pop her egg. Ezreal, I don't know what he's doing. He's right in the middle of the fight. He's going to get taken down by the Renekton. Odd choice of positioning right there. It could have been focusing the Renekton and saving that Anivia. Anivia did actually finish, manage to get away with her life. May get caught off here, but yeah, poor positioning from the Ezreal, to be honest.
And that was just a case of the Ezreal doesn't have the damage yet. They should have waited out a few more, another minute, another 2 minutes, he'd have had that Mura mana. And the amount of damage that kicks out in comparison to an unstacked Mana Muni is just unparalleled. You know, you need that to start kicking out damage. He's just picked up his Last Whisper, so he's going to start doing some real damage against tanks, but he was stuck there between Lux and Maokai, and he wasn't able to hit his skill shots on the Lux because the Maokai was right in his face right there.
Exactly, and that was just why he was taking all this damage, and he should have just backed off, and Arcane shifted out, got him towards the Renekton, who probably would have died if he'd focused him. So yeah, odd choice of targets from the Ezreal right there. Probably should have reevaluated the positioning that he was in, and sort of, I mean, he was going after that Lux for a good 5-6 seconds, but really he probably should have seen that it wasn't going to work out. Mumu trying to get a bandage toss off onto Janna. Janna seems to be the punching bag for Mumu right now. Probably died, to be honest, of Mumu being involved in every single one of those ganks. But yeah, the only person not to have died, funnily enough, in the entire game is Anivia. So we've talked a lot about Anivia being an odd choice in top lane, but she's done a good job. With that lucky kill at the start, really, with her passive, with Renekton just overcommitting. But like
just skill scoundrel, excuse me.
Obviously, sorry. But unfortunately, the problem for Warwick here is they still haven't built a proper tank. Like, no one on their team can tank out a lot of damage. The Maokai, look at him, he's got Spirit Visage, he's got Spirit of the Ancient Golden Kigai, whereas Amumu's only got Abyssal Scepter. It's not providing him much help. I know he's got Giant Spell, but he hasn't got any tenacity, so he can be locked down pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Mumu's working towards a Sunfire Cape right now. The Thought is going for a bit of an aura build right now, and in the middle.
Looks like we're going to have a fight around Dragon though. I mean, there is a pink ward on it for the purple team. Everyone here is going to go straight over to the blue team. He managed to get his smite, picks a perfect Amumu ultimate onto the Graves and onto the Lux. That's a double kill coming down for those two. Lux manages to get killed by the Ezreal. Ezreal also picking up the kill to Graves. Ezreal in a great position right here. Just surprising the Janna by coming out with an arcane shift, manages to get a kill with a brilliant mystic shot onto the Maokai. He looks like he's going to chase up this Renekton, manages to miss the mystic shot, but still has the proc from his Iceborne Gauntlet, and that's a 4 for 2. So great trade in favour of Warwick right here. Exactly what I wanted to do, and props to the Amumu right there. Great catch onto the Lux and the Graves. I know it wasn't quite comboed with the Sonar ultimate, but he didn't really need to be honest, because he managed to lock down, and he played, like you said, hand grenade Amumu, did a deceptive amount of damage with his ultimate, managing to finish off the Lux, and then Ezreal getting a great combo ultimate across both the Lux and the Graves, and they managed to take 2 turrets out of that, and a Dragon, and a favourable team fight. So if there's anything they can call worth in team chat, it'll be this.
Yeah, a great team fight. All of their AoE just laid down, not quite on top of each other, but enough for the Ezreal just to be able to deal the damage right there. Some great play from the Ezreal as well. He landed 2 or 3 really good mystic shots, blind, and actually managed to clear up the whole of the team. Quite surprisingly, he didn't chase the quadra kill, and I thought his greed may have got the better of him, but really level head on the Ezreal, and you can see it reflected in his score. 8-2 right now. And it's not far off his full build.
Yeah, he's doing a really good job right now. That was a really well played fight from him. The Janna came back in thinking that Ezreal was focusing the Renekton. She arcane shifts into her and gets the kill. As the Maokai flashes over the wall, he times his Mystic shot to catch the Maokai in the Tri-Brush. Really well played. Amumu has just caught out the Janna yet again with another bandage toss. He has just picked up that Sunfire Cape, like you were saying. It'll be interesting to see if he does build more tanky now that he has got that Abyssal Scepter. Odd pickup though, considering that Lux is the only AP damage really by Maokai on the team. You usually think Abyssal Scepter would be more useful in a situation where there's a double AP composition, but I mean, maybe just reducing the magic damage reducing the magic resist on the enemy team for the Anivia is pretty good, because obviously the combo of the AoE from Amumu's AoE and Anivia's AoE is pretty decent. Doesn't look like they're trying to get another engage, but Graves is going back, so I think the purple team aren't going to fall for anything that's anywhere near to a form of engage.
And right here, you kind of see Imperial, after that fight, very scared, you know. Sonar's been able to get out, get lots of walls down. Janna, on the other hand, as soon as she pokes her nose out to start using that Oracle, the Amumu straight on top of it with a bandage toss. And that Oracle's just going to pick down right now.
I mean, really, if you look at like Amumu's coming in, he wants to try and get a bandage toss on, but it's just going to back away. I was just going to mention the global gold right now. It's only 1k difference between a team that's 15-8 up.
Yeah,
pretty crazy.
And I'm pretty sure that's down to that brilliant farm from the next one. It's currently at 330 farm, about 70 ahead of Anivia. Ezreal's doing a really good job on the other hand, but every lane has farmed fantastically. And if they let this get late game, it's a hard one to call which team is going to win the team fight.
What do you think of the Randuin's pickup on the Renekton? I'm gonna call this. I don't think it's the best pickup against a Zed and an Ezreal, who are both pretty much ability-based champions. Ezreal does not really rely on his auto attacks. Neither does Zed to an extent. Whereas a Randuin's is very much a defensive item that's orientated to slowing attack speed.
I mean, I don't know how it works on the Renekton, but I think the Blade of the Ruin King can actually be really good and strong against the Ezreal. You try and chase him down, he arcane shifts away, but if you have that Blade of the Ruin King, you can actually...
They're trying to catch out the Amumu here, isn't that tanky? He's in the middle of their entire team, blows his ultimate for not that much effect. Looks like they're going to go in anyway, and Zed's getting really, really far in. There's a great crescendo comes across both Maokai and Janna, but unfortunately Janna being Lux sneaking out the Sonar with her ultimate, and that's a great fight for Imperial right there, with the Amumu just getting caught out. Looks like Renekton's going to flash onto the Ezreal. He's going to use the slice and dice through the minions to try and get to the Ezreal. Really well played there, but Ezreal just flashes out the way. Looks like they're going to try and take this bot turret for their labour.
Yeah, that's a great pickup from Imperial right there. The Amumu just too cocky with the build that he has. Fine, you can afford to get caught if you haven't built that bit of hand grenade Amumu at the start. But he hasn't. He hasn't got the.
They're really trying to get onto this team. They really want to get him away from this bottom turret. 5 versus 2. Good thing that they just backed off, because if they got caught in an arcane, twisted advance with the Maokai, one of them would have been dead.
Yeah, definitely. And there's the constant threat from the Lux. Once you have that CDR on the Lux, the full CDR at level 16, her ultimate is on about a 22-24 second cooldown. I can't remember exactly, but so short that if she catches you in the binding, you're pretty much dead, even if you're an Ezreal like an arcade kid.
Yeah, it's currently on 49, and she doesn't actually have any cooldown reduction. So imagine if she finishes that Chalice of Harmony into an Athene's, she'll have basically borderline 30 seconds.
She's just built a fiendish codex, so that's a 35% right there. Get ready for the Lux catches. This is the important bit. If you can get rid of that Ezreal, saw how destructive he was in the team fight, excuse me. And if she can blow that person up, they've got such a good engage right now.
Like
Graves is constantly protected as well. He's got a double stun removal. There's the Mikhail's Crucible. How do you pronounce that, Scout?
Mikhail's.
We've got that, and we've got the Quicksilver Sash and Graves. So if he gets locked up by the Amumu Quicksilver Sash, if he gets locked up by the Sonar Mikhail.
Looks like the ward off the Renekton right here gets caught in the Anivia stand, but they don't want to go into a Renekton. He's actually pretty tanky right now, even though he hasn't got any magic with this. Zed just throwing out a couple of shurikens, hitting the Janna, chunking it down. Graves just taking on this dragon. Looks like Imperial really want this dragon right now. And there's not much that Warwick are doing to try and counter it. There's nothing picked up in the Amumu that's going to make him more tanky. Renekton gets caught out by another stun. Looks like they're really wanting to get onto some squishy targets here. They're really being a bit indecisive. Amumu just going in, gets a little bit caught. It looks like they're going to go straight for the Graves. I just think he should just flash on them. He's not going to get onto anyone because no one's going to follow up. Renekton going straight onto the Ezreal. He's really low. Anivia tries to rule out. Wow, the Lux damage comes down and Sona picks up the kill on Renekton, but that laser did so much damage. Well, to be honest, Zed is in the middle of nowhere, tries to get onto the Graves. Graves is a great flash over the wall, caught by a twisted advance on the Maokai. Everyone has to flash over the wall to get away. Really dodgy play from the Mumu, in my opinion. He got a little bit too greedy trying to catch out the squishies. And there's no point catching out the squishies if there's no one there to follow you up.
No, he just didn't have the damage. Graves got distanced himself really well. Zed tried to come through there to burst Graves, but Graves can actually get rid of Zed's ulti mark with the Quicksilver Sash, I believe. So that's straight away quite a lot of the damage out of the window.
Yeah, really great pickup from the Graves right now. And it's one of those people who's picked it up at an appropriate time in the game. Picking it up as a second item, often, especially when you're behind, means you're going to be even further behind. So a great time to pick it up. Sort of your third item, fourth item into the game, and he's had the presence of mind to make sure he has the damage first and then has the defensive utilities. Because with the Renekton and with the Lux, you can actually kind of rely on them to do a little bit of damage coming to mid game and wait for you to get to that late game-ish build. Looks like Sona's going to go and try and clear out this Baron wall, but no one's going to be able to there to try and stop her. Graves is just trying to push that bot lane out. Oh, wow.
What can we expect out of the Graves build right now, do you think? Is that Quicksilver going to go into the Mercurial?
Yeah, he has both the components of Mercurial right now. He's got the BF sword and he's got the Quicksilver. Both of those build into Mercurial. I'm not the biggest fan of the Mercurial Scimitar in the world. I actually prefer building GA as opposed to it, just because it's better for melee champions because it gives you the speed boost and you're not quite utilising everything that you can get out of the Mercurial Scimitar, and especially it's really expensive for what it is. Looks like Renekton's trying to go onto this Amumu. She gets hit by the laser and the Renekton doing tons of damage, and Renekton pops this Randuin just to chase him down, and that's the problem with the Amumu right now. Shouldn't be coming down to a Renekton that easily. Looks like Graves is getting caught out by the Ezreal. No one's going to be able to follow him up there. Uses his quick draw to get away. Ezreal clears the entire room. Looks like Maokai twisting the advance onto the Sona. Sona might have to use her ultimate to escape here. Not having to use it just yet. Lux doesn't have her ultimate up. She catches no one with the right binding. Looks like they're really going in though. Maokai has to back out though. And not managing to follow up to a big extent right here.
And Genesis is going to make the most out of that Oracle. She knows that the blue team has had to back off and used a lot of their cooldowns right now, so she's safe to get out and clear that Baron buff. Graves is just picking up the red, and they're just going to get ready for that Baron right now. They want that Maokai in there and doing work against this AoE comp, so if they can catch them around the Baron pit, then it's a really good position to fight. On the other hand, Amumu and Smith have great AoE, so while it's not a corridor, it's still a really good position to fight. I think they'll probably want to tunnel off that Graves like they did at the Dragon Pit and get him into safety in one of the corners. So that allows it to do it around Baron Pit. It's not too tight in order to escape.
Yeah, and it looks like Sona is just clearing out those Baron walls again, but Janna does have an Oracles, so she can come and counter clear. It's still up right now. She has got, well, most of the time remaining on it. It's 3/4 left. Amumu is in this bot lane, however, so the jungler is showing himself in the bot lane, and to be honest, Imperial aren't doing that much about it. They're just going to try and secure that blue buff for the Lux. She wants that extra cooldown reduction that the blue buff provides. She's currently sitting on a 39-second cooldown.
And
she
the Maokai actually took that like a full scumbag. So Lux doesn't have the cooldown reduction anyway. And while that may not seem a huge thing, she might have plenty of mana. It is on her ultimate. It means that in a team fight, rather than just being able to get one ultimate off, you're usually able to if you survive well enough to get the second, and that can change a whole team fight quite often.
Yeah, it's pretty good for the Lux right there. I mean, what you often see is if you get a what's the word? A rolling team fight. So you have a team fight that goes on over a period of time. Lux is really good at sitting in the back lines, throwing out one ultimate right at the start, and then waiting right to the end to throw out her second ultimate. But without that cooldown reduction, you don't really see team fights go on for 40 seconds. If it was going on, if it was a 20-something second cooldown, like we were expecting to see it with the blue buff, then maybe she could have got 2 out. But at the moment, everything's just a bit stagnant, and no one's looking to engage too hard. They don't want to commit. I mean, Imperial are head and gold. They've clawed the kills back in crazy amount. Graves is just showing himself bottom, so whether Amumu is going to try and go aggressive here, that remains to be seen. I think he is. He looks like he's trying to get involved, but he just gets caught out by the sapling. Again, he's really not looking to engage on one of the. Really not looking to engage on the. Wow, and Maokai comes in with Twisted Vines. He's all the way in the middle of their team right now. No one is there to backing up. Amumu gets an ultimate off, and that's Maokai dead to the Amumu. That's Renekton going down very, very quickly. Amumu gets him really, really well right here. Not quite going down. He's really, really low. He could get taken down to the grave if the grave is lucky. No, just misses out on the tiniest of damage. And that's what you said about Maokai Theory.
Yep, that flash arcane shift screwed him over completely right there. He was just caught in the middle of the team, and it was fantastic play by the Ezreal. Ezreal knew what to do. He was expecting that in order to use that flash and arcane shift, unless it was ridiculous reactions right there. But it put them in a really tricky situation. Do we sacrifice Maokai and all back off and risk them taking the Baron without us having a smite up, or do we put more men into this and try and salvage something? And in fact, while they lost 2 players there for no kills at all, it was probably the right thing to do to try and salvage something. As you saw, Amumu was left on about 100 HP. He couldn't even get near Baron Pit, and with the Lux ultimate up, there's always that risk, as you saw earlier with the Dragon, of her stealing it if their Amumu isn't around the Baron Pit.
Yeah, and that's Graves just picking up. Ezreal just picking up the Dragon in favour of Warwick, just trying to claw that gold lead back. I mean, they must be kicking themselves right now. They were ahead so far in the early game, and now just sitting at about a 2k disadvantage, even though they're ahead on kills still. Amumu now looking towards picking up what looks like a Rylai's, still doing absolutely nothing with that Hunter's Machete. Not quite sure what he's going to do with it, to be honest. I mean, he needs to do something with it soon, otherwise it's going to become. It is a useless item right now. It's just taking up an item slot. It doesn't really do anything for him.
With Graves as well, as you mentioned before, he's actually turned that BF sword into an Infinity Edge. So we didn't see him in the last team fight, but it means he hasn't wasted all that gold on the Mikuro Scimitar, and it means that he's going to have an absolute ton of damage in the next team fight. So if they don't manage to focus him with the Zed and the Amumu getting on top of him. I think they're going to have a really tough time, Warwick.
Yeah, they just need to sort of make sure this Anivia gets into the mix of things. She's currently like 307 and sitting on, well, 484 AP, which is pretty good for Anivia at this stage of the game. Oddly enough, it's now 46 minutes into the game and we haven't seen any inhibitor turrets go down. So it's been a pretty slow game in that respect.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, there's so much AoE and so much wave clear off both teams that it's very hard without a decent catch to start pushing down objectives. After each team fight, people have been left low on both teams and they've been very scared to do anything with it. There's the sustain from Sona, but it's not enough from, say, other champions with heals such as Baraka and Nami to push down onto turrets and just keep them healed up. So I think it's going to really orientate around this Baron. Whichever team either makes the Baron first or makes the catch around Baron are really going to profit from it.
Yeah, and it's just the problem with one of these games. Ezreal is now sitting at full build, so he's picked up all of his elixirs, picked up an oracles, and that's the thing about Blue Ezreal. You can finish the build really quickly because it's a very non-expensive build, and it does have a great utility. He's also 836. Graves is one item away from full build, and actually really has the better late game build here because he's. Or you always find that auto attack carries have the better time of things when it comes to doing flat out damage. It does look like both teams are gearing up for a bit of a Baron dance right now. And I think for Imperial is the longer they leave it, the better chance that Warwick have at winning this game because they've got a better late game team.
Yeah, definitely.
And
whether that Graves holds.
Sorry, Zed hasn't picked up a kill since about 18 minutes.
Well, yeah, as you meant, saying that, spotted that he was 3-0 at the beginning of the game. I think he's been going so aggressive onto that Graves, and Imperial have done such a great job of protecting that Graves. He's just coming out with nothing every team fight. The Anivia, however, is doing some damage. It's really the Ezreal will start the show, and if that looks, even though he's got the Guardian Angel, if she manages to land the combo on him, I think it's going to be GG, and Imperial will just run away with it.
Yeah, Ezreal is the threat right now. Anivia is a slight threat, not quite as threatening as the Lux, to be honest. Lux has got the magic penetration, which makes her a little bit more scary, and also, you know, nullifying that Amumu's Abyssal Scepter. Again, Amumu shouldn't be ignored, to be honest. He's got quite a lot of AP, and he's a little bit tanky, but again, I reckon he'll be easily burst. I reckon he's not built in the respect that he'll get himself out of situations easily. He's got no tenacity right now, which means he'll...
I think there's a big issue here in the fact that the only magic pen Anivia's got is the Haunting Guys right now.
Yeah.
Amumu's got the Abyssal Scepter. He's jumping in so far past the team fight that the aura's probably not actually taking effect on the target that he's attacking. So they really need to have a close team fight where everyone can just combo down their AoE perfectly and not let that Graves escape.
And Renekton has now hit his full build as well, so he's opted for a Last Whisper as his item, which means he's going to be doing a lot of armor pen. Looks like Warwick is starting the Baron. Graves is now showing with Lux, and looks like Anivia is trying to wall him out. They're trying to go for a really quick Baron here. Are they going to get away with it? Looks like Renekton's moving into the middle. Looks like Lux is coming out, and with Smite is good this time. Amumu ultimate comes down onto most of the team. Graves and Lux are late to the party. That's a Sona that's gone down. Amumu's being taken really low. Like I said, he's getting completely burst because he's just not tanky enough. And this is going to be an ace for 3 for 0 right now. I have no idea what I'm talking about. And they just need to sort of move through now and make Cardiff pay because make Warwick pay because unfortunately if they don't do anything with this, that's just going to be another 3 empty kills.
Yep, exactly. And the problem is that they didn't get that Anivia down. If she's got home guards, which actually she's not, she's upgraded to
looks like they're just going to go straight up and tank the turret.
Yeah, and that Anivia hasn't got the wave clear right here. She's not got the home guard, she's very slow, so they're going to take the 3 in here. That's a mistake.
Yeah, she's actually picked up Alacracity, which is just a random plus 15 movement speed, which I actually think is one of the worst upgrades you can get in the game, to be honest. Looks like they're going to catch out the Great Wolf and Anivia catching out the Maokai. Just managed to put Ezreal in for another kill, not that he actually needs them. And Anivia has just finished up her Leandries, so She'll be doing percentage health-based damage with her spells right now. It's a pretty good pickup. I don't know if Purple Team are going to bother rotating around for this dragon. I think Warwick know that they're trying to do it. Warwick are just pushing down this middle though, straight up. All of the people when they come back to life will just be going to this middle inhibitor. I think they need to take advantage of the fact that Maokai is dead for 40 seconds.
I mean, it's Graves right here has gone for Fiora boots, which is a kind of odd pick again. I tend to always
What is this Renekton doing?
Yeah,
Sorry,
he just jumped into the middle, got the stun off, tried to bring the Ezreal down with the Lux laser, but not quite pulled off anything there. It's a bit of a risky move. If Sona had turned around an ulti, then they perhaps could have picked off at least the Guardian Angel there.
Yeah, Renekton just going a little bit too balls deep, probably thinking that he was going to get a little bit of support from his teammates, but they just backed off. Again, it's another case of this not committing to the fights and a bit of a lack of communication. Maokai is now up again. He has got another ruby crystal. I don't know what he's thinking of building it into. I think maybe a Banshee's Veil would be good here. Oh, and Mumu comes down with the ultimate onto Graves. Graves getting picked off, and he uses Quicksilver Sash, but he used it just before the death mark came down. And Lux completely burst his Lux, but he's shut down onto the Graves. Lux catches the Zed in her binding. Ruthless Predator comes down, followed up with the Arcane Advance, and Zed goes down to the Maokai. Looks like this Munu's getting taken down as well, just because he's not tanky at all. Ezreal is the only one alive. I think they're going to chase him down, but I think he'll get away just because of how good Blue Ezreal is at kiting. I don't know what they're going to do from here though. That's 66 seconds on Amumu, 60 seconds on Zed. What can they make? How can they make Warwick pay without the AD carry? Looks like going to get catch onto an image. She gets completely burst by the Lux. That's what Lux does really well. If you manage to get a twisted advance on, that's a free light binding for Lux. It looks like they're trying to go onto this every result. Is he going to burn the Arcane? Is he going to burn the Guardian Angel on the Renekton? Ruthless Predator comes down, forces the Ezreal to flash. Looks like Janna's going to get taken really low. He tries to slice and dice onto the Ezreal. Ezreal is just really being taken to the cleaners really right now, just being pushed in every way possible, but he is doing a good job of kiting everyone. They are looking to finish this game out, but they've got 5 seconds till Sona, 26 seconds. Looks like Ezreal's trying to bait them out here. The Guardian Angel goes down for the expense of Janna. I think Sona's coming out to try and save the Ezreal. Mistimed on the light binding for Lux. Is she going to be able to kill him? She just manages to Zonya's just to keep herself alive. Will she be able to kill her? No, she manages to ultimate just as Zonya's coming up. But Renekton is just going really ham on this Nexus turret. I don't know if it's GG well played right now, because I think, unfortunately, the greed of trying to kill the Ezreal just managed to save it for them. And this means there's now 60 seconds on Lux, 60 seconds on Renekton, and now 75 seconds on Renekton. Now they can probably turn it around and make them pay.
I mean, the Ezreal was raining in with a lot of damage right there. They did need to focus him, but the real mistake there was the Lux. He totally missed time to binding, and he came up out of the Guardians, and she was straight away one cooldown down, and she just ended up getting killed by him. And it was a one game right there if she had landed that.
Yeah, and if they focused a little bit less on the Ezreal and just probably all jumped into the Nexus and did a bit of an Nexus pancake, walked around the Nexus, forced Ezreal to come to them, they probably could have got away with taking the Nexus for free, but fortunately just a bit of poor play from the Imperial right there just meant that it's going to delay the game a little bit longer, and we're heading towards an hour-long game here, guys. This is an EG marathon. This is a CLG EU type game. We're going to see him go right down to the nails. We've still got 5 seconds on Lux and 20 seconds till Renekton. I don't know if Warwick are going to have enough time to make Imperial pay here, though. Looks like Maokai just using his ultimate to clear the wave. He does look like he's building towards a Locket of the Iron Solari, which he has just picked up actually, so he wasn't building towards Banshee's Veil, even though I think Banshee's Veil would have been the better option. Graves is now at his full build. He's just finished off that Mercurial Scimitar. Probably a good choice as a last item. He hasn't bothered with the Guardian Angel, because now that the Guardian Angel is procced, actually Ezreal did the right thing here, got rid of his Guardian Angel, because I don't know if you agree with it, once your Guardian Angel is procced, it's actually a little bit of a useless item.
Well, yeah, especially when you're sitting on a lot of gold, you can trade off with the item, and in fact, once the cooldown on it has gone again, you can sell and pick it up again. So that's
it looks
real
like
strong.
Imperial are going for a fist-handed, sort of straight down the middle push for that Nexus.
Yeah, they did just use the Lux ultimate to clear. Obviously, that cooldown's very low with the blue buff. Actually, she hasn't got a blue buff on her.
Looks like they're getting onto the Renekton. Renekton's not have got GA up right now, he's sold it. Renekton gets hit with the Killer, but so does the Marco. All the squishy's not taken. We're using Mukiri Scimitar, used on the Graves, but he might go down to the Zed. Zed gets caught in a light running, managed to take down the Zed. And unfortunately, that's a 1-for-1. That's a Zed gone down and a Renekton gone down. Lux ultimate comes across, takes out the Sonar. Looks like he's going to take away this Limited. Could be the game. Ezreal is in such a precarious position right here. I think he knows the game's over. Put himself in a stupid position. And it looks like Anivia and Amumu, the last hope. Amumu has got GA, but he is not going to do damage that he needs to. He's so squishy with his build right now. It's such an idiotic build for Amumu, but you know, whatever. It's GG, well played for coming out for Warwick, and I think this is going to be game to Imperial. Yeah, that's
and they pick
Imperial.
up the ace, and they pick up the next bit. And now, Graves and Janna did a brilliant job at the backlines there. The Zed jumped straight onto the Graves and initially brought him straight down to about 200 HP. The Janna landed an absolutely perfect monsoon there and actually made sure that the Graves stayed alive. He then followed up and managed to take out the Anivia, I think the Ezreal, the Amumu. You know, he's just such a beast late game with that attack damage build, as opposed to the Ezreal, who has to stick with that blue build Ezreal utility build. Are we done?
I think we're done, guys. So well done to everyone that took part today. We're going to keep going tomorrow at the same time. If you want to support us, go to www.thenull.com, facebook.com/thenull. Or you can go follow us at Twitter at the Null. Really great games from Warwick and Imperial right there. Apologies for my calling the Mumu's build idiotic, just in the heat of the moment. But yeah, well done, guys. Really well played. Hopefully see you all tomorrow. And make sure to follow us and get involved with our upcoming tournaments. You can find all the information on our Facebook page. MVP, I'm gonna give the MVP over to, I don't know, Lux. Well done, Lux. Well done, everyone.
Just we like Lux.
Just we like Lux.
Brilliant.
Okay.